Honestly, when it comes to saving money, many of us got this thing or this one backwards. Oh, yeah. And we talk about this wonderful frugal choice. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi, this is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money and More with Jan channel. How you doing today? Hope as always that I'm finding you, every one of you, feeling well, doing well, and being well, doing all the good fun stuff, including saving money. But honestly, when it comes to saving money, many of us got it backwards. Do you treat savings as, well, a happy-go-lucky afterthought? Or do you treat it as if you were paying an important, essential bill when you get your income? Only you can answer that and answer that to yourself. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't instances. For example, let's say you're doing a cash envelope system and you have a budget in place, right? And then you divide into your envelopes, and then you find yourself with a little extra money going on, and you say, you know what? I'm going to save it or put it somewhere else in my cash envelope system. And I get that. And I've done that. So that's okay. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about prioritizing our savings. Okay. We think very little of ourselves in many, many instances. I think that's a huge mistake. I really, really do. So, normally, all of us, we have to sit down and we have to pay our bills month in and month out, right? You like a roof, don't you? You like a little bit of power, light, etc., and other niceties that go on in our lives, right? But a lot of people say, but Jan, I can't save. I would bet dollars to donuts that the savings in that person's life is more like an afterthought. I'll think about it if I have a couple of bucks left after all is said and done. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to not pay your essential bills. Please never, never, never misunderstand it. But why don't we consider ourselves as a priority enough by paying ourselves first? Listen, put it this way. Let's decide on a dollar amount that you would like to put in the bank for savings. Let's just take a minute, take a breath. I know for some people, this is like a stretch of the imagination. I know it is because some people want instant gratification and saving money in the bank is boring until they need it. So, this is a really good moment to wipe the sweat off your brow. Maybe sit down, have a cup of joe, or have a lemonade, and think, do I really need to pay myself first? I mean, I know my answer, and the answer is always going to be yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be in a situation where there's no savings or no emergency fund to fall back on. You see, we pay, let's say, for those that pay a water bill, right? X number of dollars a month. You pay a utility bill. Well, electricity is kind of a nice thing to have, right? Yes, when used properly, of course. You like to have a roof over your head, right? These are things that in most people's mind is top priority with good reason. Nice to have groceries, gotta eat, There's no negotiation on that one. You gotta eat and you have to drink water. Even if you're drinking tap water and use some of those filtration systems, there are things we have to have in our lives. I don't understand. Maybe if we make a name it and claim it, okay? By treating by sitting down and saying, I am determined. Jan is right, and all the other people that say this. Okay, I'm not the only one, obviously. Obviously, I'm on a platform with a plethora of brilliant people that get on here. I'm just the person that has an opinion. And in my honest opinion, and in my honest thought, to me, to me, it's like it's just as essential as paying the rent. Okay. So, a good practice, a great frugal choice. Got to take out that good old invisible frugal toolbox. Think about that frugal toolbox. By building up that frugal toolbox with tools like discipline. Like taking a minute to think things through before just jumping into mindless spending. A lot of people say they can't save. Not true. That is not true at all. They don't do as I call a budget ectomy, removing some of the stuff from the budget that does not have to be there. Some of the stuff that you remove really is not an essential and could absolutely go towards savings. Okay. So here's what is said according to experts. Okay. And I checked it out. According to experts, a great thing to do is number one, set a savings goal. Determine how much you want to save each month, whether it's a fixed amount or a percentage of your income. Okay. That's up to you. So you can determine how much you want to save each month, whether it's a fixed amount or a percentage of your income. And also, of course, you have to have a budget. You need to create a budget. I mean, come on, seriously, you have to plan your spending based on what is left after you've saved. And by the way, just in case you haven't figured it out, if your bills aren't making the mark, that means what? You have to bring in more income, right? This is a good way to determine, are you making really enough? Okay. By implementing the savings. And of course, automating savings. This is one time that I'm very okay with automated savings. I'm a little on the fence with people that do auto pay on bills, but that's its own show. Automate savings, set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings account, or consider having a portion of your paycheck directly deposited into your savings according to experts. All right. But you know what? I mean, in plain English, I'm just going to say it plainly. We need to prioritize savings. We need to treat savings as a non negotiable expense, similar, for example, to, let's say, mortgage or other essential bill or rent, okay, or the utilities like electricity, for example. But another thing it's really important to do is to check on things, to review, and to adjust. You see, you got to know your numbers. I mean, there's no other way to say it. A lot of people say, but I don't wanna. And then they're the same ones that cry, whine, complain, scratch heads, and cannot figure out, but I can't save. Why can't I save? If I do the same ridiculous thing, let's think about this. If I do a ridiculous thing over and over, okay, all the time, what kind of a result am I going to get? So they claim that it's a sign of insanity when you do the same wrong thing over and over, expecting to get a different result. It's just not right. That's people claim it's like crazy. Okay. And that does make logical sense. I mean, doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same bad thing over and over and expecting a great result, that's just not logical. It doesn't make sense. So at the beginning of the month, I use this beginning of the month as just a general analogy. Let's pretend a person gets their one of their income streams in the beginning of the month. Okay? I'm just saying, hopefully they have more than one income stream. But some people only have one income stream. And for them, it's even way more important to prioritize saving. You see where I'm going with this? And if the best they could do a month is, I'm just using a roundabout number. Of course, the numbers are individual, need adjusting. $50 to $100 a month. I have to pay my bank account $50 to $100 this month, every single month. Would you hesitate? Let me ask you a question, or somebody out there listening who this applies to specifically. You know who you are. I can't tell you who you are. You know who you are. I don't know who you are. You know who you are. Let me ask you something. Would you even hesitate to pay your electric bill? No, I'm sure you wouldn't. Would you hesitate to pay your rent? Anyone who hesitates about their four walls or electric bill and thinking that there's going to be some earth shattering, wonderful rescue situation. Wow. Good luck with that. I don't know. Because most landlords will tell us all to go, pound up some rocks and turn it into sand and gravel. I'm just saying, think about that for a minute, right? Everybody expects, and isn't it a scary place to be without having that soft cushion to fall on? And it's not going to happen overnight. You see, this is where a lot of people go crazy. Why? Because they think and they want this magic wand, wee, for the savings to happen overnight. No, 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 no. But it wouldn't hurt to take, well, let's say, a tiny amount of money, let's say $50 or whatever you can get on a high yielding compounded interest account. Okay, a high compounding interest account. I always flub on that one, but you know what I'm talking about. That means your money grows, hopefully, possibly daily. Go check with the experts on that. You could take a tiny amount, make it grow bigger. But my emphasis today is to start prioritizing yourself. Isn't it a scary place to be? Think of it. Wouldn't it be a scary place to be if you had zero savings? This is why a fun thing to do, like on a different category, okay, is stay a month ahead with bills. Okay, that is that is a very great place to start. Okay, but the savings that I'm talking about are the savings that, like, it's literally a set it and forget it. Literally a set it and forget it. Not to be confused with emergency funds, which should be separate. Okay. And they should both be, by the way, in separate accounts. I know this sounds a little crazy, but right now I'm more concerned about the idea of not caring enough about yourself to prioritize yourself as a person that deserves. In this case, I'm going to say the word deserve, and I don't take it lightly to use it. Deserve to have savings, okay? You need to save. We need to save. I don't care if you're saving 50, $100 a month, whatever you're doing regularly. I never turned down the idea of the folks that started very tiny with the $1 a day to get on the training wheels. This is the training wheels channel, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to talking about financial and savings, okay? Save money and more with Jan, not the big grandiose channel, not the big grandiose channel. This is about being motivated, caring enough about yourself. And let me just extend this a little further. Not just for yourself, but for your family. And think of the wonderful. Here's another perk. And I like to always look at the bright side of things. Okay. Here's another perk. Think of the wonderful example that you are setting for your family. Your family sees mom and dad, with great frugal choice habits. They take out their invisible frugal toolbox and use it when needed. They're not worried all the time about. You shouldn't have to worry about every little thing with money. Peace of mind. In my honest, there is not even a price tag for peace of mind. Okay? Not even a price tag. And in this case, we're talking about having that money peace of mind, that money mindset that, well, you can do it. But Jan, I don't have enough income. Oh, so this is the part where a lot of people want to avoid things, and that's why they never end up saving. Because they have to face the music of one or two things, or two things. Either one, increasing your income. Oh, that's a dreaded one for a lot of people, right? Right, right. Or cutting back on a lot of fluffery. I'm going to call it fluffery. Do you realize something? By shaving off a lot of that fluffery ridiculousness, you got your little bank check for yourself month in and month out. And it goes faster than you think. Here's the thing. I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. Time goes by no matter what. Let's pretend there are two people starting at the zero starting gate, right? They're at that starting gate at zero, both of them. And the challenge for them is to save, let's say, $5,000 in 6 months. Okay. I'm just using that number figuratively, but the time frame is 6 months. We got the person, letter A, that does it this way, and we got the person letter B that does it that way. The letter A person does everything they can. They prioritize their savings, they prioritize their bills, they don't incur late payments, they don't waste money on ridiculous snacks after school, they don't spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars down the pike on coffee outside. You see where I'm going with this? They take out their frugal toolbox and they are pretty much like almost there in half the time. Then you got the other person, wishy washy, letter B, that started at the same exact point as letter A. Okay. They delay everything. Everything is just a procrastinating event and always doing the same wrong choices, expecting different results. And do you think that person's going to hit the $5,000 mark as fast as letter A? You know the answer. Of course not. And don't say, well, that's just who they are. No, no, I believe people can change, but people have to want to change. Not having a savings at all is a scary place to be. Not being at least 1 month ahead on your bills, in my opinion, in my thought, I am no expert. I'm just a person spewing my opinion. It would feel very uncomfortable to not have money for your bills for 1 month ahead at the very least. Always looking back, always trying to catch up with last month. Okay. Now, I'm not saying there aren't situations that are going on. I mean, there were always situations, but listening to the stories I've been hearing, it seems like there's even more than ever. Not easy. But please be confident enough to take good care of yourself. Please be confident enough to know that you count, you matter. Put something away every single month, whether it's a percentage, whether it's a fixed number, or if it's at least something. This is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons I get frustrated when I hear people poo poo upon the small wins. At, for example, at the grocery store, when they took their time to save $10 or $15 on their last grocery haul. And then maybe next week do it again. Are you kidding me? Right then and there, that's halfway mark to $100 that could go into savings. There's nothing to poo poo about that. I am so kudo-ish proud of it. I am just saying. All right, so we do live in a world of choices. Please, when it comes to saving money, let's not get this backwards. Let's go forward.